Hello, this time around we are going to set up Git in Writer for C# and .NET. I think I'll just cover both the include Git when creating new project and add Git to an existing project. So let's give that a go. I have Writer open. I'm going to create a new solution, and that pops up over here. I just create an empty solution, Git example. Right. And if I check this off, it comes with a Git repository out of the box and with the relevant ignore files, and you're pretty good to go right away. So I think I'll just do it like this and create a project not under Git, because that's more to see here. So okay, so just waiting for things to be set up. There we are. Okay, so I have no code in here. I need to add a new project initially, so let's just do a console application, whatever we call it, like that. That's probably good, just so we have something to start with, some kind of dummy project to work with. Alright, so there's my console app, and there's a main method, an implicit one, and similar to what we saw with modules in Java, we can do a library. I just created here, so that's going to create a different project inside my solution. And let's just make a reference for good measure. So this is called, that's class 1 new, and I can reference that project. Okay, so that's sort of all I need to get started. If we just build everything, there we go. And if I go and check the file system, we can see that there's an obj and a bin folder. We don't want those under version control because that's our build output. All kinds of stuff, debug, DDL files, and I don't really know, console app library, my executable. Right, so that's not what we want. I'll just go back here again. So we want to add Git. Let's say VCS create Git repository, and I need to create it at the root folder here. So Git example, that should be it, yeah. And let's see, it's just refreshing everything. Eventually these files should be turned red. Okay, we are off to a good start. We can see everything is red because it's not added to Git, any of it. And now let's start to add stuff to Git. So it's a bit inconvenient, sort of, but maybe there are easier ways to do it, just to be safe. But I don't want to add this, because inside that folder we have the obj and bin folders, and we don't want that on the version control. So I usually just go to file system, because then I can see everything, and I select the program. And I need all my CS project files. They are similar to the IML files or the pump files that we saw in the previous videos. Essentially, they say set up stuff about the console app, and similarly up here. So this is using the .NET 7 version, and there's some other setup. And down here we can see, okay, it's an executable, and it references the class library. So these project files are settings for your projects, and then we want the solution file, because that's what binds everything together. You can see it referenced console app 1 and class library 1. So if I don't have this, then the entire solution sort of falls apart. So I want the SLN always. I want all my CS project files always. Let's just add them initially. That's done. Then I want all my CS files, so basically all my code. If you're doing other kinds of projects, for example some Blazor project with web development, then you may have other file types, but they're still your code. Right, so we want that on the version control add. And I think we're going to need, yeah, so this is idea again. We're going to take the ones that are red. So similar to for IntelliJ, there's a workspace which I think is locally defined, and then there's a Git. That's probably okay. I think Git creates a hidden folder whenever you add Git, so we don't want this. We don't want to add Git itself under version control. Okay, so that's what we want to add. Project settings update, I don't know what these two are, but you can see they're sort of pale yellow greenish thing, so that indicates we don't want them. Okay, so I have added stuff. I need to ignore stuff as well, and all my obj and bin files, we can just ignore them straight out of the box here. We say add to ignore, and we add to ignore, and I create an ignore file, and you can see it says like this. So those are now ignored, and everything is off to a good start. Now whenever I create a new project, let's just create another library 2. We have to, so I don't want to, what is it suggesting? Okay, git ignore, that one needs to be under version control. That's the file that I just created. We can see it out here. Git ignore this file. Right, but I have a new project and you see it's red, so nothing is under git version control. Again, I don't want to right click and add this. Don't do that, because then you get, where's my class library? Then you get the bin file and obj files. We don't want those under version control. So I go to the file system so that I can, see everything. I always want my CS project file because it has the settings, and this is then recognized as a project, and whatever class files I have. So I want these to be added. And if we go back again, we should be able to see there's some unversioned files. So they're in my class library 2. This one should have been added. Class library. Did I not just do that? I think I messed it up. Let's give it a go again. No. It's green, but I can still add it. This is a bit weird. Let's go and refresh this. Yeah. Okay, so that's the stuff you can see is located in obj, nothing in the bin folder, but I don't want this. So could we say, I don't know, */obj? Let's see if this works. Updating. Still updating. I really hope that was. I'm sure there's all kinds of Git syntax that you can use here. Basically, I wanted to say any kind of obj folder. They disappeared. Okay, so the refresh worked. And then I basically want to do the same for the bin folder, just to be sure. So any bin folder in any new project that I create, and any obj folder in new projects that I create, they will then be ignored. I could actually remove this one. I'm not going to do that because then it has to refresh again. So all of these files, that will be in my initial commit, because that's the first commit, I guess. But that's a good start. So the main difference between creating a project under Git initially is just that the ignore file will be created for you. I think it will be set up with these straight away. But then whenever you create a new project, class library, console application, or whatever, you still have to go and manually add the CS project file and whatever classes you need. You can add the classes from in here, that's okay. It's just if I pick this one, it will include the obj and bin folders, which we don't want. And that just taught me that the palish color green yellow thing means that it is ignored, apparently, because it's the same as these ones. Alright, that should be it. We could commit this and we can push it to some remote repository. Otherwise, Git works just the same in Writer as it does in IntelliJ. You have the same tools, you have the same buttons to click. My buttons are just in the left hand side instead of on the right hand, but maybe I can update IntelliJ. I can see my branch somewhere, maybe that's moved. Okay, so that's now up here. But you have the same tools. So I think that's going to conclude this video, which means that I will see you, there we go, in the next one. Thank you for watching.